This week, I'm talking about credit card debt. Not the kind you think about, but how to maximize and get value out of your credit cards. Stay tuned. So a lot of clients have been asking me, hey, what's the best way to pay for such and such? I have enough cash in the bank. Should I be doing that? This is similar to the video I did about, stop paying for everything all in cash. But I wanted to specifically point out one area that I think a lot of clients don't take advantage of, and that's credit cards. Now, credit cards are a tool to use as long as you're using them wisely, but they can be a tool to get cash back, airline credits, airline points, and then also as basically a 0% loan. Oddly enough, right, there's a lot of credit cards out there that offer a 0% interest rate for upwards of 18 months. Now, in this video, I want to explore what that means and what that looks like, but I want to preface it first with this is the idea of we're not going to go into debt to pay for those silly things, right? We're not going into debt to pay for something that we can't afford. It's the idea of leveraging, instead of using up all the cash in our bank or taking money out of our investment accounts because things have gotten beat up, dipping into a zero interest credit card for a certain amount of time and then taking some cash that we've already had sitting on the sidelines, or perhaps we had some cash invested, using that to then go and pay it off. Now, one of the biggest aggregation tools for this, and a website that makes it very easy, is a website called NerdWallet. NerdWallet is very much like a bank rate, where they'll aggregate a bunch of different credit cards and they kind of break them down. You can compare them, contrast them. And so it's a very nice website to be able to just peruse and analyze, hey, what do all these things mean? And so I want to take us through a little bit that website. So here we are, NerdWallet. And for those listening, you can go to nerdwallet.com. They have a section right here called credit cards. Now you can click on this credit card section and it pops up. It says, hey, what's the right credit card for your dreams? We're not interested in that. We're just interested right now for this video about what are the best 0% interest credit cards. And so what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to click on our top picks right here at the top, and then it'll say best credit cards, best 0% APR credit cards. And so it's another drop down that you can click on. When you click on this, it'll pop up this, hey, these are the March 2022 best 0% low interest credit cards. And you can actually scroll through all of these different options. Now, you can apply directly for these things through this website, or you can just go directly to, for example, like Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo will still give you this credit card through their website. So a couple things. Firstly, there's a long list of these credit cards, right? And the main purpose for getting a 0% interest credit card is to take advantage of the no interest rate. It's just like borrowing cash for free. And so again, our point is not that we're going to borrow this money and then not pay it back, because what will end up happening is the interest rate will all of a sudden turn on at a really high rate, right? So let's take, for example, let's just do this Wells Fargo active cash card. So this specific card has $0 annual fee, right? The intro APR is 0% on purchases for 15 months. And by the way, they'll do a 0% intro APR on balance transfers, meaning you take the balance from another credit card, transfer it to this Wells Fargo credit card, and no longer will pay interest on that credit card, on the credit card balance, I should say. Now, once that 15 months is up, and if you still have a balance, they're going to basically say, hey, the interest rate has now gone up. It's about anywhere between 15 to 25%. And so, of course, right, what's the main goal of these credit card companies? The main goal of these credit card companies is for you to pay interest and them to collect these ridiculous 15 to 20% interest rates that you're paying on the credit cards, which is why you never go into debt. However, because they're not going to charge you until you have a balance, and a balance beyond that introductory period. You have literally 15 months to use up a lot of the credit card balance. Now, there's a question that comes up in terms of, will this affect my credit score? And the answer is yes, it will, because again, your credit score is based on how much credit you have and the amount that you are using, right? The idea of, if you have a $50,000 credit limit and you're using up $40,000 of that $50,000 limit, then companies are going to look at you saying, wow, they're really maxing out what their allowable debt is. And that becomes part of your FICO score and could potentially lower it, and it probably will lower it. So if you're really ramping up the purchases on this credit card, then it could negatively affect your credit score. Now, if you're using it for a short term, then you're going to pay it off. It'll probably have minimal impact. And if you have other things open like a house loan, a car loan, other credit cards that have little to no balances on it, then it'll probably be again, a pretty minimal impact to your credit score, but something to keep in mind regardless. And so when you're looking at this list, you really have to come up with a goal of, I have X amount of dollars saved up, call it 10,000. And instead of using up that $10,000 cash, I'm going to use this Wells Fargo that gives me 15 months of zero interest, pay $10,000 for the things I'm trying to get done, whether it's a renovation, some kind of updates around the house, dental work, health stuff, right? Instead of dipping into your cash savings, this kind of gives you that buffer. And so it becomes a very useful tool to be able to get some interest rate on some of that savings that you have sitting in the bank, right? And although it may be a smallish amount, even if you have a high yield savings, which I have a video on, in terms of where you should store some of your emergency fund, even if it's a small savings, it's still a savings, right? You're still out gaining anything else that you're doing. And so it becomes a really nice way just to eke out a little bit more income. It turns out to be a nice way to leverage what it is that you're already doing through savings and taking on essentially smart debt. So again, the website is nerdwallet.com. There's some other websites like Bankrate out there that kind of do something similar. But NerdWallet, I found, is the look and the feel is really nice. They lay everything out, easy for you to compare the credit cards. And I should say, it's not just the 0% intro credit cards, right? They do have a lot of other types of credit cards that you can compare. They have the cashback, they have balance transfers, student cards. Hopefully none of you have bad credit. Right. So, but they do have cards for all of those different specific areas that you are looking to utilize. So again, I know during this time where, things are rocky in the markets and things have kind of gotten choppy, you have maybe some cash sitting in the bank. Well, instead of potentially using up that cash to exhaust all of your cash, why not consider using some strategy like this, taking on 0% APR for maybe like a short-term update you were already planning on doing, or some expense item that you had already planned for. Instead of using up the cash in the bank, maybe utilize one of these cards, let your cash sit in the bank, earn a little extra interest, and then turn around and pay off the credit card when the zero interest period is done. So again, something to consider definitely going forward. It's not going to make you a millionaire. It's not going to make you even a cajillionaire. But again, the idea of picking up little tidbits here and there for your overall net worth, it all adds up in the end, right? It all builds up to this idea of building wealth and utilizing debt properly. So never get into debt just to get into debt or to pay for things you can't afford. That's obviously not what I'm talking about, so don't ever do that. But use this as a tool to continue to manage your finances, to continue to be financially independent and allow yourself the freedom to still accomplish all of those goals that we have set out. So if you got other questions, comments, concerns, let us know. We'd be happy to address them. But I hope you found this video helpful. Give it a like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please share it out with all of your friends and family. Until next time, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.